Yo, hey. Yo, welcome to the spot. You know the truth is here. Bronx tales on a beat, we see it clear. All the cases, all the shadows, we break it down. Pull up a seat, join the fam in this town. Every story matters, every voice you bring. We don't just talk the talk, we let the facts sing. Logan and Bronx, yeah, they lead the way. Shining light in the dark every single day. Yeah. Curiosity welcome, questions never wrong. Here you belong, it's a family strong. From cold cases to the ones unsolved. Together we uncover, together we evolve. No gossip, no rumors, we keep it real. Every detail matters, every clue you feel. We vibe, we learn, we investigate. Bronx tales, true crime, let's elevate. Stay with us every night and day. We uncover the truth in our own way. Come here, let your mind explore. Bronx tales, true crime, always more in store. Yeah, welcome home. Yeah, you're never alone.
Hello, welcome to the Dog Pound over here on Bronx Tales. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? Hump day? Yes. Happy Wednesday. I hope everybody has had a wonderful start to your week. It's halfway done, so we are halfway to Friday, baby. I am so excited. I can't wait. This work week for me has been horrific. They wanted to change everything in our system and now nothing's working. So it's just like, yeah, okay. Anyway, so we have some stuffs for you guys today. But first, everything is alleged and our opinion only. I want to show you something really quick actually, let me say my hellos first. Hi, Mandy, my bestie. Hi, Miss Carol. Hello, Steven. Hey, RJ. Hey, Christina. Hey, Mega. Miss Bianca, Lucky, Offset, Pokey, True Crime. Hey, Dago. Let's see. We've got Misleading Evidence. I love that name, by the way. Did I say Lizzie yet? Hi, Lizzie girl. Giraffes Bruh in the house. That will always be funny to me. Daenerys. Who else we got? Hello. I paid that bill. That's why we're here today, because I paid that bill. Hi, Jolie. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. All right, first I want to show you this, and I can't take credit for it. My mommy sent me this, so I want to share it with y'all really fast. It's for the Guthrie case, which has been very interesting, as we know. Oh my God, last night somebody needed to tell me to get the heck off the internet because every person I dug into and was looking into had these hooded eyes. And I was like sending them to my friends like, oh my God, this is him. And then 2 minutes later, no, never mind. Oh my God, this is him. I have never seen so many hooded eyes in my life. I don't know if that's like a more prevalent trait down there. I don't see a whole lot of like, darker complected people with hooded eyes and a mustache. That's not like super prevalent up here. Obviously, you see them once in a while, but down there, it's like everybody had that. I was like, okay, someone kicked me off the internet. My goodness. So, all right, here is my question. So we see that the plant debris is sitting on top of the red fluid. So my question, this comes twofold. My question is, was that not the first time that guy had walked up to the front porch? Because there was obviously already red fluid on the ground before he was messing with the plants, or else the plants would not be on top of the red fluid. So maybe that was not the first time he had gone to the porch, and maybe came out of the house somewhere else, was looking around for cameras or something. And I think possibly he was using the flashlight in his mouth to look for the blood spots that were already on the porch to avoid stepping in them and tracking them with his shoes. What I think happened was he brought, or him or they brought Nancy out onto the front porch after she had been injured and had her record or speak into the camera. And that was the initial letter or ransom or note, was her actually just speaking into the camera. And that's why we don't see the red fluid droplets go anywhere other than the front porch. I believe they brought her out to the front porch to speak into the camera and then brought her back in and locked the door behind them. And then when she left, they took her out a different way. So I'm wondering if that was not the first time the guy had been up to the front porch. I believe he possibly came out a different door, came around to the front, and was then trying to do whatever he needed to do with the camera or whatever he was doing out there, a distraction, I don't know. But the plants are on top of the red fluid. So she had already been out there, in my opinion, possibly, before he started messing with the plant in the camera. So, yeah, wasn't sure if anybody had noticed that. The only other possibility that I could think of that the plants got there on top of the red fluid is if possibly he brought Nancy out, and in the process of them coming out, they were like stepping on the plant, or the plant got moved around that way, and that's how maybe the plant particles could get on top of the blood. It just seems weird because it's on top of a couple of spots, you know what I mean? Rather than looking like it was kicked around and stuff. I feel like if that happened, then the red fluid would have been stepped in and everything too. So something tells me that maybe that wasn't his first time on the porch, because the plant looks like it's on top of the red fluid. So yes, ma'am and sir, that's what I wanted to show you in that case. And then in the Cobain case, there was a whole lot of new like posts and articles by all different news stations yesterday saying stuff about investigators really think that it's a homicide and not what it was ruled, hoping it's going to be reopened and blah, blah, blah. Like, it was a big deal yesterday. Cobain stuff was everywhere. Oh my gosh, Bianca starting off the show incredible with we've got 5 new turtles to the gang. Welcome the turtles to the dog pound. Thank you so much, Bianca. Look at this. I thought Jibba already had a membership. I thought Steven did too. That's weird. Well, welcome anyways. Thanks. Appreciate you. Look at Mega got one too. That's so cool. Bianca, so amazing. That is incredible. Okay, so yeah, the Cobain stuff I thought was pretty interesting too. It's not often we see dang near every news outlet writing about Cobain. So something's going on with it, and hopefully it'll be reopened soon. That's all we can hope for. So let me get this off of the screen, and then we shall move on. Stop it. Stop sharing. Stop it. Okay, so I'm going to... Let me make sure I don't have anything else I want to talk about before I get into this, because I don't like to save everything for last. I know people have stuff to do too, so I want to show what I recently came into thanks to Bianca. So as you guys know, I've put out tons and tons of FOIAs. I mean, probably somewhere between 30 and 40, and I've been denied for every single one of them. And this is including Moscow, ISP, FBI, some things in Pennsylvania. I've just been denied for everything. Well, apparently somebody else put in a FOIA for one of the same things I requested, and they actually got it recently. And I'm wondering if the reason I was denied was because I put in the FOIA prior to the case being completely closed and the documents coming out and being released. So that could be it. Just timing could have been wrong. However, I want to start off by sharing this page because I like it. And this is, it's not a whole lot of crazy information or anything. It's just been something we've been asking for. So I want to first say, my question to ChatGPT was, do crime scene investigators or crime scene cleanup people need to use the running water in the home to clean up a crime scene? And the answer was yes. Typically they do. And here's how it works. If the water is unsafe, crime scene cleanup teams will often use sinks or utility tubs to mix cleaning agents. They'll fill mops and buckets. They'll rinse tools and equipment. They'll flush treated wastewater appropriately. They use hospital-grade disinfectants and follow OSHA and state biohazard standards. So for a lot of reasons, when they're cleaning up, they'll need to use the water that's running in the house. So with that being said, I shall maybe, where's my other screen? Where'd I put it? What in the world? Where did I put it? Oh, I had to delete or minimize everything. Sorry, one second. I'll pull it up in just a second. Let me grab it. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh my goodness, guys. Where did I put it? Oh, I know where I put it. Ah ha ha ha. I know where I put it. Oh, shoot. Is it in this one? Here we go. Okay, found it. Sorry, guys. I thought I deleted it. I did not. Okie dokie, let me share this one. Doobie doobie doo. I hope everybody is doing good today. I really, really do. It's been a wild week with the Guthrie stuff and everything. So thank you, Bianca, for sending us this. Heather put in a FOIA and got the water usage. She sent it to us. She originally got it for PAV, but said we could use it because we have been the ones asking for it. I was the one who brought it up and have been very interested in it. So Heather got the FOIA. They sent it to her. Heather, if you see this, please email me. Bronx Tales, TAILS, truecrime@gmail.com. I'd love to reimburse you for this and reimburse you for your time. So this is the water usage. Now, at first glance, it really doesn't say a whole lot other than, now, first, let me just say what I wanted was the daily usage. Now, I'm not sure if that's possible, but what we got was the monthly usage, and it doesn't tell us a whole heck of a lot. But it does tell me one thing, and that is, if we see down here at any time after 11/10, we've got 11/17 of 2023. Let's see. We've got January of 2023. We've got December of 2022. And if you notice, zero water was used. Zero water was used after the 17th of November, which tells me, did the crime scene cleanup not clean up the house or the crime scene? Because there was no water usage in December from the 17th to the 10th or to the 15th of December. There's zero water usage. And we don't even know that it was up to the 17th. It could have stopped on the 13th. It could have stopped completely on the 13th. We don't have a daily view of the water usage, but it looks like from the 10th, oh, that's the next year anyway. So we have from 11/10 to 11/30, there was only 2,000 exactly units used, which is strange because it looks like they're on an average of about 3,600 per day. So from the 10th of November to the 30th of November, only 2,000 units were used. I would think that the 11th, 12th, and even possibly 13th, there should have been about 6,000 to 9,000 more units in there. They're trying to say that basically almost no water was used after the 10th, which I'm really confused about. But what it definitely shows is that crime scene cleanup didn't use any water at all. I find this very, very strange. This is what we had to show you. As you see, it says Madison Mogan at the top. Wait, it says 123 Strong Road. Or 122 Strong Road. This is really odd. Because what was FOIA'd was for 1122. And I can even show you. Oh, that's not it. Here we go. Let me share this screen. I'll show you. This is really strange because that's not even the right address. But the dates would add up. What is going on here? And why won't my... Oh, there it is. Okay, let me share this screen so I can show you exactly what was asked for. One second, I'm pulling it up for you. Oh, one second, that's not it. Sorry, one second. Doobie-doobie-doo. My goodness. All right, let's see. We've got here we go. I think this is it. They just show up so small when I'm trying to share. I can't tell which page is which. As you can see over here, it says, on January 27th, the city of Moscow received your public records request attached for records pertaining to water consumption at 1122 King Road. So it was asked for 1122 King Road. Oh, Mandy gave us a $9.99. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. Turtle, thank you, girl. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you all for being here. We absolutely appreciate it. So as you see in this FOIA, it was asked for 1122 King Road, but strangely, it's showing a report for the address on this report is showing 122 or 123 Strong Road right here at the top. That's very odd. However, the days would match and the water usage would match for 1122. I'm wondering what happened here. That's odd. Very, very odd. This came directly from Moscow. This was attached to a FOIA. I got the whole thing, so it definitely came from a FOIA. I can say that it came from a FOIA. This is very strange. But what this does tell us is, I'm thinking it's for 1122 just because the dates do match. But my problem here is it would show that the crime scene cleanup people didn't use any water whatsoever. And that it looks like from the 10th of November on, there was literally barely any water used at all. So, interesting. Very, very interesting, I thought. You guys know I've been asking for this. I'm going to re-FOIA and see if I can get a little bit deeper information now that the dates have passed as far as the case being closed and things like that. Now, when I did it, the case was still open. So I'm wondering if that's why I didn't get it. I'm going to re-FOIA and see if I can grab it But I am going to post this just on the community page. So if anybody wants to use it or go through it or whatever, they can have it. I'm going to post it as soon as we're done here. What do you mean wrong name? It says Madison Mogan at the top. Oh, no, it doesn't. It says Modin. This is weird, guys. So did they just give us a water bill for the wrong person and wrong address? Wouldn't that be... Because what was asked for was for a closed case. They can't just give out somebody's water bill, can they? This is so weird. This is... Oh, sorry. Oh, my God. Y'all, this is so weird. I'm totally weirded out right now. All right, I'm going to re-FOIA and see what we get. I'm still going to post this, though, because it's strange. Because the dates do add up, which is very odd. Interesting. This is so interesting. Yeah, I see. It's so weird. It says Moden, and the address is different. Did they just give us a random person's bill? I don't think they can do that. Weird. Guys, that's weird. I'm going to re-FOIA. It only took her 3 days to get this, so I'm going to re-FOIA today and see if we can get it by Friday. If not by Saturday, then I'll just go live Saturday with whatever we get. Oh, and by the way, just so you guys know, I won't be here tonight on Crimes After Dark, but I will do something this weekend, whether it's a live or a pre-recorded or something, whatever pops up in some of these cases, we'll go live this weekend if we need to. So, okay, let's get into, I do want to go over Perky's interview. So let's get into that. Now, I said something about Perky, I think it was last night, and I said he seems credible or something like that. And what I should have said is what I actually meant, which was he seems credible in this interview. But really what I should have said was he just seems believable to me in this interview is what I was getting at. I don't know him. I don't know if he's credible or not. What I meant was this interview sounds like he's being true and believable to me. To me, my opinion. I don't know. But let's go ahead and play it. This is from Connor's channel. Let me know if you can hear it okay. If you can hear it okay, put a 1 in the chat. Just for the record, that is a real water bill that came attached with the actual FOIA request. It all came in one. It's not like somebody sent a FOIA and a separate bill that looked like it came in a packet pretty much. So it did come from Moscow. It's just not correct, which is strange. I was digging into the numbers. I didn't even look up at the dang name or well, I saw Madison, but I didn't look at the address until just now. And I'm like, wait, what? But we'll see what else we get. All right, let's get into Perky. You can't hear this, guys? Shit. 1 second. 1 second. Goodness gracious, this audio. Okay, I'm going to play it again. Let me know if you can hear it. Put a 1 in the chat if you can, or 2 if you cannot.
How long that'll be, but that's probably while I'm doing this remodeling.
It's distant?
As I've been thinking about it and remembering that I thought, I've just got to start writing this stuff down. Yeah. So first.
No, you can't. Dang, you guys can't. It was working just. Oh, now. Oh, well, we've got 1-1. It was working just fine. Nope, you guys can't hear it. Okay, let me change this. I am so sorry. 1 second. 1 second, 1 second. All right, let's try this.
Are we going to be talking about just one person? Yes. Okay. Can I get that person's name first? Yes. So I don't have his full name. Okay. He goes. And I've known him as a troubled kid. Okay.
Just so you guys know, this audio in itself is not the greatest. It sounds very distant in itself, so I'm wondering if that's what it is. I think my microphone is picking up, my external microphone is picking up the speaker. I'm going to have to call IT tomorrow. I thought because it was working great yesterday and the day before that I fixed it, because I did mess with it, but maybe not. I'll call IT tomorrow and just make sure and get everything extra situated so we're good.
Or at risk, I'd say at risk. He's not really now. Did he live in Moscow? No. Okay. Do you know where he lived? Yes. And I just went and double checked that address because I was going to talk to you. I don't know if they're still there or not. He's living. And that's off the street that's saved. Yeah. And then across apartments are in their apartments. Is this here in town? This is it. Okay. Yeah, no, just off the freeway. Okay. So you take that exit and you turn and then it's that entrance. There's two different entrances to that. Mother was living there, and you may know that's daughter who used to be. And I don't know what the child's last name is because it's his dad's last name. Okay. And I just knew it was. Didn't need to know more than that. So let's go back a little bit. Just off. Okay. And it's up. Apartments. They just went straight in, right up the stairs to that stairway. That's where they did live. Okay. I dropped off some instruments and I even spent a night there one night. Okay. In the B apartment. Okay. So this kid is his grandson. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna have you go slow, kind of from, I guess, the beginning of what you know, and I'll be taking some notes. So, like I said, we'll just kind of work our way through this. Okay. Whatever way we get questions answered, hopefully, Lord willing, I won't forget something. My background was having a hard time. I was invited up to one of their family picnic things. So it's actually their family, his wife's family, and they do a yearly picnic up at a lake north. Gosh, it's quite a little bit north of Deer Park. but it's kind of a lake that they all have gone to. They go every year. It's kind of their family reunion that's been going on for multiple generations. So I drove. Both of them were having a hard time with their driving and whatnot. So when I was working the store, and I didn't have any other people around, it was at the start of COVID. So the very first summer of COVID. And so I drove them up there, and at the last minute, and then his her daughter, and I don't remember the daughter's name right now. She's a little younger, not much. Okay. And so I met him just during the drive. Very pleasant kid. When it comes to, they were all in the car with you. So all in the car, yeah. So I went up there, and then we went to the picnic. And so while we were up there at the picnic, bless kids, those girls, they all got their own certain fire, and some of them were fired one to the other. But one of the daughters had there was a lot of little kids around, and other people coming in there, and because of COVID, there was more people out camping than normal, so people went out. But anyway, so there got to be one of the daughters was just giving people a real hard time getting them to slow down. So she was playing traffic cop and didn't want to get her. And but she was a little overdoing it a little bit. But anyway, so she annoyed some other man, and so they kind of got into an altercation. And then two of the other sisters kind of got in, and it was like, this isn't too good. So this one man at one point, he mentioned something kind of almost like a threat with a gun type of thing. So anyway, so I didn't think too much about that. But anyway, a little later in the evening, the ladies had to walk past where these other people's camp was. So I went up on the hillside just to watch, make sure everything was okay and nobody was going to bother them. So lo and behold, while I'm sitting up there pretty quick, all of a sudden just shows up, boom, he's right there. And so very stealthy, and all of a sudden, wow, that was pretty intense. And he'd been on the other side of the hill watching, so I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing. And I thought he was a little older than he was. My take on that is his mother, she's an alcoholic, and gets very, very verbally abused.
Okay, before we continue with this interview, I want to make sure everybody's on the same page and we know what we're even listening to. So Scott Perky is the co-owner of 1122 King Road, from my understanding. And the guy he's talking about, if you guys remember, there was an interview or somebody called in and made a tip, or it could have even been this interview. However, there was a document that stated that there was some sort of information given to law enforcement about a guy that was at the Mad Greek. And if you remember, he was mad that he thought Xana and Maddie were lesbians, and like him and his mom got into an argument, and his mom was talking shit to him right there, saying that he wasn't ever going to be anything in life. And this was the same guy who said he went into 1122 King Road, when the girls weren't home. And this is the same guy that said, I could have killed them all if I wanted to. They didn't know I was in the house. And he was still in there when they got home. And then somehow had to find his way out. This is that guy. Scott Perky is talking about that kid that was at the Mad Greek that was talking shit about lesbians, and then said he went into 1122 and said he could have killed them all if he wanted to. That's who Scott Perky is talking about. So just so we have some context here of what's going on in this interview. That is pretty much the only thing that's talked about in this interview. Now, Scott Perky says this kid is a troubled kid. He has a lot of knives and he's really obsessed with them. What else did he say? And then he goes into the whole, that kid broke into their house and was in there when they came home. Right now he's talking about how his Mom's an alcoholic and she's really verbally abusive to this kid. Now, everybody thought maybe his name was Gabe. It starts with a G. A lot of people thought his name was Gabe. Just so we have some yes, exactly, DK. Yep. MPD Doc 77. Okay, I was digging right before I hopped on, but I hadn't gotten to it yet and couldn't remember what number it was. So we'll pull that up too. Thank you so much, Witchy. Thank you so much for the super chat and letting us know it's number 77. We'll pull that up too. So here we go.
And so my take on that is he's, because of their family circumstance, he sees himself as the man of the family and the protector, kind of a protector. And, actually felt pretty good about most things said. I just thought, and I was surprised because he carried himself about 2 years older than what I thought he was. Or what, yeah, I thought he was 2 years older. Was at that time? I was thinking he was probably 17, 16, 17. Turned out he was only 14, 15. Okay. So, very, and at that time is when he pulled out and showed me he had a pretty serious knife on him at the time. So he was really into knives. So that was kind of the first time I realized, okay. And then in conversations realized that he had been into ROTC program. The kid is a soldier at heart. Okay. I think he's dreamed of being a soldier, stealthy, Rangers type thing. This is where he's headed. But so, yeah, I think to be honest, I kind of got the general impression since that time that he kind of drinks and breathes that kind of activity. Yep. So, yeah. So, he, let's see if I want to jump from there. Let's see. So that was when we first became acquainted. Okay. And then, through different times, other family gatherings, times that they would come up. I think she came up one time to help, even when we were closing out the store. But I've met with them and traveled with them several different times. So it's these kind of family things. So family road gets me invited me at Easter. So I've met a couple different times, maybe 3 even, up to there. So they would usually meet up at their family park up there. But another thing about was he wasn't hanging with all the regular crowd, the other cousins and stuff. But he was a little bit his own person, a little bit more set apart. Okay. So, that was my overall first impression was he was kind of a protector, set on a military career. He talked about that a lot. Yes. Yeah, talked about it a lot.
Thank you, On Top X sent $1.99 sticker. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. So sweet. Always so generous, and it's so much appreciated. Yes, you are the best.
And I would ask him, and when I'd see him, it's like, well, I was programming. Anyway, so, and that has stayed pretty consistent the whole time I've known him. He's done that. But he had, on several occasions, he has pulled out and showed me his array of knives, and he had multiple knives. What would you describe those? So his knives, the first round of them were, one would be kind of a, more like you do, like, I come from a hunting background, so one would be more like a skinny knife, but then he had, one like you would do when you're gutting out a deer, so he had a pretty good sized knife. And one of those knives, even that first knife, it was more of an assault type weapon, but it wasn't really huge, but I'd say probably, that one probably 7-inch blade, maybe, I don't think it was 8, but more like one that you'd see typical deer hunter he had an array of those, and, you know, and each time he traveled, he had those knives. When he would come up to Moscow, he had those knives. I'd seen him pull them out about 3 or 4 different locations. Okay. And there's a good chance that if this all falls through, the weapon you're looking for may be still sitting in one of those hiding spots. And I'll give you that information too. Okay. Don't let me forget to do that. I'll write myself a note. Okay. And so yeah. So that was pretty much the introduction to him. Okay. Okay. So that's always been kind of the case. Okay. So as far as I know, he was staying on that track. Last I heard, his grades had kind of dropped a little bit. There was a question. I kind of got a second hand through his granddad that even if he didn't get his grades up or something, he might not get into his military program that he was wanting to. And and then I was always kind of worried about him because every time his mother would get 3 sheets to the wind and get verbally abusive, I thought, man, it wouldn't take much for this kid to snap at some point. I mean, she could be very, very verbally rough on him. And so that was, but it's kind of, yeah. I don't want to sidetrack here. It'd be real easy for me to go chase a rabbit here. So I think I'll. Okay. Okay. So that was my initial meetings, and that, like I said, went to multiple family functions with him, and usually I drove.
Thank you, Nibbles. $4.99. Thank you so much. Nibbles the Westie. Oh, that's cute. Look at that. So adorable. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Yes, thank you so much.
They become now as they traveled. So you would probably have a hard time locating him because they always she had lost her license from drinking, whatever. So when his mom would travel, and they traveled, and the daughter, they always traveled via bus. Okay. So they come up on the coach to Moscow, and they would go back on the coach unless some family member gave them a ride. Okay. Okay. So they traveled up there several times, or maybe not even known, right? What's that? Did you always know when they were up there? Up at Moscow? Yeah. Not always. Probably, while I was there, usually 90% of the time, because I would stop by. I spent a lot of time in his backyard, around his little fireplace stove there. Yeah. And I'd come over there and hang out with him until he'd get tired and start nodding off.
So this guy, Scott Perky, he's very wordy, and he says a lot of things that really don't freaking matter, that are useless to this. But, where'd it go? I think it was it Pokey? Yeah, Pokey said, so what would be his motive for what he's done then? Why the kids? Just because he was mad at his mom? And my thought is, well, obviously mommy issues, obsessed with knives. He definitely had a 7-inch blade because he pulled it out and showed this guy. This guy, we'll read the report as soon as this is done too, because there's a couple of interesting things in there. But yes, mommy issues. And if you guys remember, he was talking shit about lesbians. So basically hated lesbians. But he was the one who thought Xana and Maddie were lesbians. Now let's look at the crime scene and how many people think that Maddie and or Xana were the targets too. He had already been in their house. and said he could have killed them if he wanted to. So obviously killing people's on his mind. Like, who does that, number one, but then who says that as well? You know what I mean? It could just be I guess don't necessarily have to have a full-on motive either, you know what I mean? But I would say a combination of that stuff could be his motive. Who knows? Just completely messed up. Scott Perky says this kid is like messed up. Very troubled kid. So yeah, just mad, hates lesbians, doesn't like these people for whatever reason, has knives, likes to use them, hates women because of his mom. Who knows? Enjoys feeling like he's in power, maybe because his mom makes him feel like he has no power. Who knows? Whoops.
So we'd have a cup of coffee, and a lot of times he'd invite me over, and so we'd just kind of hang out and listen to music. Well, I'd listen to music. So usually the boy would come. Now, when they stayed, the locations are probably important here. When they stayed, the two kids, the boy and the girl, slept downstairs in a big double bed down there, and that basement at the time was, the whole house was basically closet. She didn't throw anything away. It was obsessive, compulsive, everything. In fact, as I was going to stay there a little bit, and I took a Costco box of lint and stuff away from the washing machine, because it was just heaping over. So I took it out to the trash and just totally freaked because I had taken something out of the house, and I was replacing it with one of the trash cans left over from the music store. And I thought, man, I'm not staying here. So it didn't take me long to bail out there, but I never stayed down in there because of spiders and bugs bite her down there, and so she would not sleep.
Oh, Pokey makes a good point that if he was in there, well, and I think Ethan helped serve them as well, so he would have known that Xana was with Ethan. So you're right. He obviously would have known that Xana was with Ethan then, right? So maybe he thought that they were bi then. Who freaking knows? But I don't know. This guy seems to think that this kid could have done it. This kid says he was in there before, apparently. So, who knows? I don't know.
But at one point, I know had his knives in a duffel bag down there at one time. So he had pulled them out of there, and I think he might have, if he transported the knives, I think he might have transported them under the cardboard of a duffel bag. So I don't know that he always transported them. I kind of got the impression that he just kind of kept them stashed up there. And while I'm involved with the locations that I know I'd seen him pull it out from the wood pile one time. So what's the address? That's on, is it turns into right behind. So one little street runs behind his house, the other one, maybe it'll right up. So then, it makes kind of a C shape. There's a house on the corner, but the road behind him. So, like a lot of times when I park, I always parked on the. It might be a little bit. I think it's whatever that it starts with. Sure. But anyway, so there's two sheds there, and he would either sleep on the picnic table, she would not sleep in the house, or she would stay out in the shed. And I ended up just this summer putting a roof on that shed. It took me 2 years to do that. So at the end of shed that's got the new roof. It's long, and then there was an old shed that we hauled all the trash off out of. And I mean, it was, it was so deep in there that we found a rototiller under there. There were chainsaws. There were things that hadn't been seen in years. But anyway, so this fall, a lot of people jumped in the family and went on to clean everything up after what happened. But anyway, so the locations I've seen him go to for these knives was one of the shed, those two back sheds. Multiple times I think he's had them kind of stashed away in the one I put the roof on. So, yeah.
And then wood pile you said?
And then one time I saw him, pull.
Look at that. Bianca gifted another 5 freaking turtles membership. Turtle. Look, Dago got one and one got that. Or got one too. And Mandy and Jesselyn and Nin. 1420000. Thank you, Bianca. You are so great. Look at all these turtles. This is incredible. Yes, welcome aboard. Hey, JJ. Oh, that would have been crazy if JJ was in here at that time. 1 and Dago at the same dang time. That's crazy. Thank you, Bianca. Just the sweetest. Turtle. Happy turtling.
Out in the wood pile. Now, there are some of his cousins are aware of the knives and that too. And I think the other kids kind of looked up to him a little bit. So, which is, I can't think of that big. I think that's his son. She lives down. But the dad lives up there in Moscow, and he's the. And so, yeah, so is a couple years younger. He might be worth talking to at some point. Just kind of put a little side. I know that on the one event, he may be aware of when I share that. There's an event that took place, and then there's another cousin that lives there, and I think that's. So there's been some divorces, so some of the kids are in there part of the time, and part of the time they're not. But there's some of these boys, and when they get together, they can be kind of they can be pills. Sure, a little bit. They're boys.
So any other locations? You got the 2 sheds, new one and the old one, and then there's the wood pile.
Yeah, the wood pile, the 2 sheds, and down in the basement. These would be the 3 places. And if not, float them. Now, my thought on this is, in light of some of the other stuff that went on, he's a very smart kid in this stealth activity. I mean, if you see the movies where the guy can get up, all of a sudden he pops up out of the water, pops out of the brush in front of you, this kid's that good. He's been studying it that long.
Okay.
But anyway, so he.
Yeah, so he says he's been studying how to be like stealthy and pop up in places where nobody knows he was hiding and be sneaky, and it's strange.
Maybe smart enough that gun is there, not gun, but that knife is vanished. Okay, and now that knife was not first seen. The knife that I think the last one I saw is even a bigger weapon, and it's serious. The last weapon I saw, it's probably got a 9-inch blade, or it's enough that it would go right up under a rib cage, right to a heart, and it also has, well, like I made a little sketch. It's kind of both those support services of some sort, or get a hold of maybe even the bishop is. I don't know about them because you could be, letting the cat out of the bag with the good families. I was there just because they had some meals that weren't so big. Sunlight, that there was more toward noon or morning even. Yeah, so it was earlier in the day.
Comes in.
So he comes in, and he's there, and I think, I remember for a brief moment, I think, him and the other cousin, but I wasn't paying too much attention, other than I was kind of surprised to see there, because I don't think I knew he was in town, and he was down there, and I think the other cousin came in, the one that's closer to his age, but I don't think they stayed real long, but the event that happened is, okay, so the waitress they've been waiting on me, and then all of a sudden down there, so the one waitress, she engages in a pretty intense conversation, and then pretty quick there was another one on the other girl was so there was two of them, and then the guy came out from the back, and they triple teamed him in this debate or thing that was going on. And I'd seen these kids kind of do that again, so what I gathered, and it's something I saw at the college, the old guy coming back to school, was there's, in the liberal mindset, they've kind of gone to what my daughter gave me the name for it, they're calling it cancel culture, and so they're going to delete you. So, and I've had it just boldly be spoken, and I'm not sure if I heard it in the restaurant or not there. I've heard this very firmly said, it's like if you challenge one of us, you're going to have to deal with all of us, and we'll delete you. And basically, we'll destroy you out there in the internet, that sort of thing. So there was definitely a conversation.
And that's a good question. So Michelle says, was this person who Scott is talking about ever questioned? And not that I know of, his initials are GM and his first name is Gabe. So I don't remember coming across an interview with those initials. So doesn't sound like it to me. Wouldn't that be one of the first people? Like if you heard this, I'd be going out to interview this person ASAP. Somebody, it seems like every tip they got that could be legit, they didn't do anything with it. Well, why do you think that is? Because they already had their narrative of what they were going to say and do and what they needed to say and do and what they wanted everybody to believe was going on. I mean, look at the Guthrie case. Look how easy it is to pin something on somebody that didn't have anything to do with it. That Carlos kid, didn't have anything. They released him. He didn't have anything to do with it. So that's how easy it is to get the public to believe that they're involved. I think most of us think, well, if law enforcement is going to arrest somebody or detain somebody or question somebody, they have some sort of knowledge that makes them think that they're involved. But that's not always the case, and that's not always true. And that could be absolutely true in this case as well. Just because you say it's Bryan Kohberger and law enforcement says it's Bryan Kohberger doesn't mean that it is. And that's how easy it is to get people to believe that somebody's guilty of something. People blindly trust law enforcement, and I'm not sure why.
That had taken place that looked like it got pretty intense down there. So do you remember what three? It was the boy and I believe it was his girlfriend and one of the
Susanna and
then one of the seems like the one that had a little darker complexion than the one blonde, one of the blonde ones. And I don't know if the other one showed up or not. At one point, but later in the day, I made a point that when I did, what was that all about? And that's when things really kind of opened up. So let me just write this down real quick. But I did see that. So I'm of the mind, and I'd heard the kids in debates with other people before there. And when I was at college, you had liberal views, and my view on that is that's time for people to explore bond, and we'd actually learned it to be. So yeah. So this whole "I'm going to destroy you" attitude.
Did it get repeated, or?
It got. I could tell it got pretty good, and then but the demeanor on was. I kind of got the general feeling that just from what I looked at him, he was just kind of enjoying it, and I know he was some of the things he was throwing out. I think he threw Second Amendment out to him. And so I kind of got the idea that just even from the distance, I couldn't hear everything, but I kind of got that. And then later when I talked to him, that was kind of it.
Karen makes a really good point. She says, then now this is regarding Guthrie. Frankly, I think Carlos should lawyer up. They still have his phone, and now they found this glove. Touch DNA manipulated at that lab, anyone? And that's a really good point. And that's how freaking simple it is. They go in, they take his phone, they've got his DNA on all over his phone, right? Now they have this glove. All they have to do is touch them together, or you know what I mean, or even just say it was there. But it's that simple to touch his phone and then touch the glove, or just have them in the same place, and now you've got DNA of each on each. It's that simple, and that's scary.
Kind of the case.
So, you want to go to when you talk to him now? Or is there anything between from that altercation or that discussion to when you talk to him?
Yes, there is something else that took place in between. So later, I was in the backyard.
So did he stay and eat? Let me go back there. Did he stay and eat there? Or did
I don't think he did. I think he ended up leaving.
Okay.
I don't think, other than having maybe a drink or whatever, soda or whatever, I don't think he stayed. And the other kids that had come by, they were there kind of maybe far, but I think they bailed out.
Okay. So now you're...
And his sister may have been there, but it's like, I just kind of looked up and it was in the family, and I just thought, oh, the kids, so this could have either been Saturday or Sunday. Okay. Might have been Saturday at the farmer's market, but I don't think so, because I think the place would have been more packed, so I'm thinking it was Sunday.
So then you're in the backyard.
So, backyard, and, okay, so it Bill's backyard. I can't remember why we were standing. Maybe we were walking into the house. Comes out, and this is really important. Just screaming at him. And given she's 3 sheets to the wind, I can tell. And she's just really, really lashing at him. And it's what she said. It was so harsh, and she's harsh, but I've never heard her so harsh. And here's what I recall her saying was, like, and she was so demeaning about it, you're just a loser, you're just a loser, you're gonna end up spending your whole life in jail, you're ruining my life, you're gonna ruin your life. And so she was really upset about something, what he was doing or where he was going, and I'd never ever heard her be that intense. And she was really upset. I mean, it was just tearing her apart, whatever it was. But she was drunk. And so that really stood out to me, and I was standing there every time, but I didn't, at this point, memory, there's no serious things going on with the meds and what's going on with him. So, but at the time, I know we both stopped in our tracks, and I think I said, it's man, it's harsh. Gosh,
Okay, I'm going to pause this right here because this is an hour and a half interview or so, and I need to fix this volume, so we'll finish the rest of it tomorrow. But I'm going to read the report from Fry on this exact interview right here. It's not super long, but we'll read this so when we hear him say it tomorrow, we can compare the report to the interview as well. And then I want to chit chat about a few things, but then I have to go because I have a lot of errands to run today. So, okay. Yes, and Lucy, you're right. This interview being done by Fry rather than any of the other people that were conducting all the other interviews is strange. He didn't do any other interview but this one. It's weird. And it was an interview, obviously, on December 13th, exactly a month later, at 8 o'clock. I interviewed Scott at the Idaho, blah, 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 blah. He called me several days earlier to report some information he had regarding the quadruple homicide. I asked Perky if the information he would be sharing would be dealing with one person. Why? Why is that the question you'd ask him? That's strange. Perky told me yes, it would. I asked Perky if I could get the individual's name. Perky told me the person's name was Gabe or Gabriel, later identified as Gabriel M. Looks like 2003 is the birthday. Perky told me he did not know the individual's last name, but believed he knew where he lived. Perky told me he lived in the blank apartments. Perky told me the apartments is just off of whatever avenue, and then you turn onto whatever lane, and then right onto blank street. And then the apartment's across from the something something. Perky told me Gabe lives in the blank apartments. Perky began by explaining to me that he had done a lot of work for DK, who is the prior owner of some sort of address. Perky told me he's been a friend of the family. Why is there a moth in here? That's scary. A friend of the family for many years and has done handyman jobs in the past for D. Perky told me in 2020 he drove D and his daughter, Lana, and Gabe up to a blank place the family goes to have a vacation almost every year. Perky told me after they got there, R, who is one of D's sisters, got into an altercation with a male who was camped near where they were. Perky told me it was a heated argument, but everyone eventually went back to their campsites. Perky told me later in the evening he noticed R and L were walking past the male's campsite, so he went up the hill where he could observe and make sure nothing was going to happen. Perky told me he had been up on the hillside for several minutes in the dark when all of a sudden Gabe just appeared out of nowhere. Perky said it startled him for a minute because he never heard or saw where Gabe had come from. He told me that Gabe pulled out a knife to show him. That's creepy. Perky told me this was a hunting style knife. He told me he had spoken to Gabe, who had showed a great interest in having a career in the military. I asked Perky if he could describe the knife to me, and Perky told me it was a typical 7-inch blade hunting skinning knife. Perky told me he had heard that Gabe's grades in school had dropped and that Lana had been extremely verbally abusive to him. I asked how Lana and Gabe would travel to Moscow from Boise. Perky told me he believed they would ride the bus when they traveled. Perky told me when they stayed in Moscow at Dee's house, Gabe and his sister would stay in the basement and Lana would sleep outside or in one of the 2 sheds in the backyard. So strange. Perky told me the significance of this was that Gabe would keep his knives in the basement of Dee's house, in the woodpile that was outside, or in one of the 2 sheds in the backyard. Perky told me around the end of May or sometime in the middle of June, after COVID was letting up, he was at the Mad Greek having a late lunch or an early dinner. Perky told me this was on a Saturday or a Sunday. He told me he had ordered a glass of wine, which he is sure that Ethan was the one that served him. Perky told me he's not sure if Ethan worked at Mad Greek or was just helping out. He told me a bit later he noticed that Gabe had come into the restaurant with possibly Dee, who is Gabe's cousin. He told me Xana and Maddie had gone over to Gabe's table and Ethan later joined them. Perky told me it appeared to be a heated conversation, but he could not tell what it was about. Perky suspected it may have had to do with the cancel culture and that Gabe was stirring them up with conservative comments. Perky told me Gabe left without eating anything. So Gabe was pissed enough at Xana, Maddie, and Ethan. Later that night around 9 to 10, Perky was at Dee's house and in his backyard. Perky said that Lana was extremely drunk and she was yelling at Gabe. He said, she stated, "You're just a loser and you're going to spend your life in jail. You are ruining your life." Perky was not sure what Lana was referencing when she said this. Perky told me Gabe left right after this altercation and he did not see him again. Perky told me Gabe left and didn't see him again. Perky told me Gabe goes on long walks and does not return until the early morning hours. He told me he was over at Dee's the next morning picking up some tarps from a job he'd been doing and Gabe showed up. He told me he asked Gabe what he does after he leaves when his mom is yelling at him. And Gabe told him he goes over to the college. Perky told me Gabe believes the college is to blame for how his mom is. Perky explains that Dee went to parties at the college and began drinking. Perky told me he does not know for sure, but believes that Lana may have been R-worded at one of the college parties. Perky told me he asked Gabe about the conversation that took place at the Mad Greek. He said that Gabe told him that he followed the girls to the Mad Greek from the college. Gabe told Perky that the two girls were lesbians. Gabe told Perky he went back to the girls' house, and when they came home, he was inside the house and made the statement, "They had no idea that I was there. I could have killed them all if I wanted to." Perky told me Gabe then went and got a larger knife from out of the back shed and showed him. Perky told me every time he was around Gabe and Gabe's mom would explode on him, he always stayed very calm and would not react to her. That's it. That's the interview. D is Demetrius. Okay. It's been so long since I've read this. I don't even remember. I have all the initials and stuff written down for each report, but I'm not going to dig it up. So yeah, that is basically in a nutshell. I know Perky is really wordy in this interview as well, but it's very interesting that he was never interviewed. And I mean, it sounds like Gabe has more of a motive than Brian Koberger does. I mean, has the means, has the time, has the anger, has been in their house before, has been around all of the victims except for maybe Kaylee. Even though he said he'd been at a party there, he'd been inside their home. How come we don't have like Gabe's DNA? How come they didn't find his DNA? Or is maybe some of the DNA his DNA? Like, it's ridiculous that none of this was followed up on. It makes me so mad. I will thank my mom, Carol. I definitely will. We've been talking back and forth all day about Guthrie. Just crazy what's going on. There's a lot of similarities with Guthrie and Idaho, both. I mean, I know it's completely two different things, two different states. I get it, but just some of the stuff is like, it just sounds familiar or it looks familiar. You know what I mean? So, we will re-pick up the interview, but I'll have a few other things for you in our next live, which will be Friday. Yay, Friday. So again, I won't be on Crimes After Dark, but I want to share one more thing with you before I do have to jet. Give me uno momento, por favor, because I have to find where I put this one. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Which way did you go? Which way did you go? Oh no, what did I do with it? Uh-oh, did I lose it? Oh, it's right here. Haha, just kidding, guys. I found it. Man, today has been a crazy day for me. My brain is everywhere right now. Let's see. Here we go. So today I wanted to do a Bronx's Buddy of the Day, but I wanted to do a tribute to Lizzie's cat Reese that recently passed. So this is Reese, and he is, let me move my face. Look at, he's such a chunk. Aww. So sweet. I love his colors. There's a stray cat by my house that looks identical to him, just a little bit thinner. So we wanted to do Bronx's Buddy of the Day and give a tribute to Reese. I think he's just so, so cute. And I put, we'll see you when we get there, buddy. So sweet. Ah, all right, guys. I do have to jet today. I know it's a little bit shorter of a day than normal. Just wanted to bring you a few things that I had for today. That is crazy looking. So, okay. So we'll talk in depth more about Idaho. I feel like I haven't done Idaho in a really, really long time. So I'll have more stuff for you guys on Friday. Don't forget tomorrow to tune into Crimes After Dark. I won't be there tonight, but I will tomorrow. Other than that, do something nice for yourself. Be kind, but more importantly, be kind to your animals. Thank you for all the supers. Thank you, everybody, for showing up, and mods for being so freaking phenomenal. And thank you, Bianca, for all the gifted and making everybody turn green and become Bronx's little turtles. All right, guys. Have a wonderful